Welcome to Researching Statutes, Part 4, Statutes and Lexis Plus. This is a tutorial by the Jerome Hall Law Library at Indiana University, Maurer School of Law. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to navigate a jurisdiction's statutory code, how to locate the code's index and popular name table, how to search a code for relevant code sections, how to locate historical information, and where to find annotations as well as information from the Shepards citator. To navigate to Lexis Plus, go to the Maurer website, click on Library and then Research Tools, then the Lexis Plus button, and log in. After you've logged in, you'll reach this screen. From here, just click on Go to Lexis Plus. Lexis gives you the opportunity to choose statutes and legislation in a jurisdiction right in its search bar, and that's fine, though federal is a little awkward since it's set up by court. Or you can use the links in the content menus below to navigate to statutes and legislation as we've done before. On the Federal tab, I'm going to click on USCS for the United States Code Service so that we can look at the U.S. Code. From this page, Lexis does not offer links to an index or a popular name table. Those are in different databases, and I'll show you how to get to those later. So we'll use the search bar at the top instead. I'll search for coronavirus and eviction to see if we can find the law on the moratorium. Fortunately, the first result of my search is a relevant one. Notice that in Lexis, there's an extended explanation at the top, an extended trail of where I am in the code. And they also provide a heat map showing where in the section or the annotations or the text the term that I've searched for occurs. Let's explore this first result, section 9058. The heat map or color-coded graph of my search terms appears at the top, and I can actually use this to navigate through the section by clicking on the little colored bars and moving to that term. Lexis puts the currency information here at the top, which is handy. Below that is the list showing where I am in the code by title and chapter and so on. All of these are clickable links so that I can navigate to other parts of the code if I need to. Speaking of navigation, in the upper left is a tab that pops open a table of contents showing me where I am as well as nearby sections. The derivation note or history of legislation that went into this section is listed below the text. Annotations would be down here too, except this section is so new that it has no annotations yet. On the right is a gray box summarizing the information that is being pulled from Shepards, which is Lexis's citator. The first thing to notice is that there is pending legislation noted. There's some law in front of Congress that would alter section 9058. There's going to be little other information in Shepards, again, because this section is so new. If we go to the pending legislation, you can see here the bills that have been introduced. Both of these are in the Senate, and we could click on them to find out more. Navigating back with the browser button, I'm going to click on Shepardized Document. And we see that there have been two court decisions that have referenced this statute. One is from the Second Circuit, one is from the Southern District of New York, and the other from the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. Notice that on the left, there are filters that we could use. We don't really need filters here because there are only two cases, but if there were many cases, these filters would be very useful. Also notice that each of these cases has a little symbol at the end of its citation. Lexis uses these symbols to tell us how that case has been treated in its own citation history. The green diamond with the plus sign in it at the end of the Elmsford Apartment Associates citation indicates that that case has been treated positively by cases that have discussed it. Meanwhile, the blue square beneath it, next to the words cited by, tells us how Elmsford treated this particular statute. And blue is a neutral color in Lexis. Green is positive, and yellow, orange, and red are more negative. While we're here, notice that you can change the way your results are sorted and also change the view. You might enjoy the graphical view, and I'll let you check that out on your own. Also notice that in the upper left-hand corner is navigation through the Shepards Report. In addition to citing decisions, there's a tab for history as well as other citing sources. I'm going to navigate back to the code section. And when I'm here, I'd like to show you the table of contents. When I click it open, you can notice all the sections are listed. The one I'm in is highlighted in red, and there are several nearby that I should probably look at as well. I have found that on laptops, if I have the table of contents open, I lose access to the Shepards report on the right, so close the table of contents again to see the Shepards. The Go To drop-down menu at the top is an easy way to navigate to other parts of the section. Since I'm in a different section this time, you can see that now there are some annotations here. A statutory code section with a long history would have many court decisions listed. Let's go back to the main landing page in Lexis. And to get to the index for the US code, you start typing USCS, and then the US Code Service index pops up as one of the suggestions. To use the index, you simply click on the suggestion and go from there. For the popular name table, start typing USCS popular, and it will come up as a suggestion. Before we leave the US code for state code, I'd like to show you a Shepards report that has more cases in it. So I'm going to pull up the citation 15 USC 636. So I'm going to Shepardize this section, and we have two choices here, and I want to look at the one with more results. So I'm going to click on this top one. This gives 311 citing decisions. You can see the filters are much more expanded, and there's a wide variety of signals after each of these cases. Remember, in the earlier one we saw only the green plus. Now we've got yellow triangles, and there would be others as well. In other citing sources, there's some law reviews, and it looks like some secondary sources too. In history, we're told that there's still some pending legislation. Back to citing decisions. Again, notice all the different court filters we could apply, the timeline. There's a lot here. Let's move on now to a state code. And this time, I'd like to look at Connecticut. I'm going to scroll down to Statutes and Legislation and click on the annotated statutes. Again, I'm just going to have to run a search. Lexis does not usually have any indexes for state codes, and popular name tables for state codes are not very useful. They're most useful at the federal level. So I'm going to search for eviction and retaliation and see what Connecticut has on this. Looks like that pulls up 28 results from statutes and legislation. Again, you'll see the heat maps that can help me locate my terms. And when I look at this first result, it looks familiar. A very active heat map. Shepards information on the right, the table of contents for the code on the left. Let's see what happens when we Shepardize. Quite a few cases, again, a variety of signals that we're seeing, as well as the information about how these cases treated our statute. Lots of things you can do in a Shepards report. Here's the graphical view that I mentioned earlier. It shows that most of the cases have simply cited the statute, One had a neutral discussion and one had a positive discussion. No negative analysis by the courts at all. Navigating back and back again, we reach the code section. Again, you see the currentness information here at the top, history, and annotations beneath the text. Here are case notes. Again, these are the ones that are selected by editors and added as annotations to the code. This is different than what's going to be pulled up by Shepards, which is run by computer algorithms. The case notes are more selective. The annotations can also include research references and other material. Back at the main landing page, I'll show you that there doesn't seem to be an index or a popular name table for Connecticut statutes. When I type Connecticut statutes into the search bar, nothing comes up in the suggestion list for an index or a popular name table. You should now have a basic understanding of how to navigate and search a jurisdiction statutory code in Lexis+, how to locate historical information about the code section, where to find annotations as well as information from Shepards, and how to use the local table of contents to find nearby sections that should also be read. This concludes Researching Statutes, Part 4, Statutes in Lexis+. It also concludes the series of tutorials on researching statutes. If you have any questions, the reference librarians at the Jerome Hall Law Library are happy to help.